So, what if extraterrestrial civilizations weren't just out there watching us, but were actually starting to lose their patience? Today, we're going to break down a really powerful set of claims from Dr. Stephen Greer. We're talking about a warning he says he's delivered to world leaders and a complete reimagining of consciousness that holds it all together. Let's dive in.
Right there, that's the core of it. And according to this perspective, this isn't some kind of threat. It's more like a really frank observation. So, what could possibly make these incredibly advanced civilizations impatient with us? Well, to get that, we first have to understand how they see us, and the incredibly dangerous path we're currently on.
Okay, so let's start with this warning from beyond. The whole argument here is built on a pretty wild idea, that any civilization that can travel between stars must have already passed a kind of cosmic test, a test that humanity is right in the middle of failing.
The logic here is really interesting. The idea goes like this. Any species that develops technology powerful enough to wipe itself out, like we have, gets to a massive fork in the road. If you manage to survive that phase, it's proof that you've evolved beyond that self-destructive impulse. In other words, they are a priori peaceful. They're peaceful by definition, because any violent civilizations would have already destroyed themselves.
This slide really lays out the two paths so clearly. We're on one side, just teetering on the edge with our own tech, and they represent the other path, what our future could look like. So, okay, if they're so peaceful, why the impatience? Well, according to this account, it's because a secret group, right here on our own planet, is actively trying to pick a fight with. And that brings us to part 2, the secret war. This is probably the most shocking claim of all, that there's a hidden conflict being waged in our skies, totally without our knowledge or consent, and that is the real source of that growing impatience. So here's the allegation, and it's a big one. There's a rogue group, an illegal secret government program that's acting incredibly aggressively. The claim is they're using advanced weapons to deliberately target and take down extraterrestrial craft. Why? To get their hands on the technology in events known as crash retrievals. This quote really highlights just how deep this alleged secret goes. The claim is that this is all happening completely off the books, outside the normal chain of command, that even the President of the United States has no idea. It's presented as this profound, tragic failure of governance, with consequences so serious that they've triggered this whole warning.
All right, Section 3, the nature of consciousness. Now, you're probably wondering, how could a secret group possibly hide technology like this? This is where the whole argument takes a massive pivot, away from secret projects and towards something way more fundamental. The claim is that the tech being hidden isn't just about nuts and bolts, it's based on a completely different understanding of consciousness itself.
I mean, we're all familiar with this idea, right? That our consciousness is just a side effect of that 3-pound lump of gray matter between our ears. The brain creates the mind, and that's pretty much the end of the story. But what if we have that relationship completely backward?
And there it is, the radical alternative. The proposal here is that consciousness comes first. Your awareness, your body of light, as it's called here, is the fundamental reality, and it's what manifests a physical body, not the other way around. Now, to even begin to wrap our heads around this, we have to kind of redefine what we even mean by consciousness.
So we're not talking about the contents of your mind, like your thoughts about your job or what you want for dinner. We're talking about the underlying field itself, the raw capacity for awareness that lets you have thoughts in the first place. Think of it like a movie screen. Consciousness is the screen, not the movie that's playing on it.
And here's the next mind-bending leap. Even though we each experience our own private inner world of thoughts and feelings, the argument is that the underlying field of awareness is universal. It's a single shared thing. Imagine the ocean. We might look like a bunch of separate waves on the surface, but underneath, we are all just part of the same single body of water. The separation we feel is just an illusion. So what if this wasn't just philosophy? That brings us to our final section, a science of mind. This is where we get to the idea that this understanding of consciousness isn't just a cool theory. It's a practical, operational science, a technology in and of itself. The process described is basically this. By learning how to connect with that unbounded singular field of mind, say through deep meditation, you can access information that isn't limited by your physical location. This is how abilities like remote viewing, seeing a place without actually being there, or even getting glimpses of the past or future are explained. And this has an absolutely staggering implication for things like interstellar communication. If consciousness isn't tied to a physical place, its speed is effectively infinite.
It completely bypasses the speed of light. That would mean zero time lag. You could communicate with an intelligence a billion light-years away just as instantly as you can think a thought.
Now, the crucial point here, and the source material is adamant about this, is that this is not mysticism, it's not spirituality. It's being framed as a real science, a kind of physics of consciousness that we're only just starting to rediscover, but that more advanced civilizations figured out a long, long time ago.
And that leaves us with one last massive question. When you take this entire argument into account, the warning, the secret war, and this totally radical way of looking at the mind, if consciousness itself really is a technology, what are the limits? What could humanity unlock if we finally understood how to use it?